non-training day and it's our last day here in Seattle. So we have 2 weeks left on this transformation now, and I'm glad to get the trip over with, to be honest with you, because I've been traveling every other week during this transformation. We've been to LA, been to Columbus, been to New York, been to Texas, and now Seattle. So it'll be good to get back into the swing of things for the last couple of weeks in Boise. My back is really tight from yesterday's workout with Mark. You know, I don't normally deadlift that much, and I had to get my wife to help me put my shoes on this morning. So I know that I got a good workout, and I hope you did too. So now we're in week 10. Foods have been very bland, very boring. But you know, I know that it's going to get me to the destination. But we have the honor today to go and meet up with Christina Dugdale, Mark Dugdale's wife, who's an absolute master in the kitchen. So let's head on over to Christina's place and see what she's got cooking up for us.
Hi, I'm Christina. Welcome to Cooking with Christina. And I have Kris Gethin with me today, and we're going to be cooking up a wonderful meal for dieters. Kris is dieting right now, which means he is low on carbs, fat restricted, calorie restricted, and he needed some good ideas for livening up this dieting. And so we're going to be cooking up an appetizer, an entree, and a side.
I'm really looking forward to this. For the past 10 weeks now, I've just been eating out of a Tupperware container. The food's very bland. I'm not very creative when it comes to the cooking in the kitchen. The same bland chicken, the same fish, the same bland eggs. And I've always heard Mark Dugdale seems to eat some amazing foods while he's dieting, and I'm jealous. So now I'm here to find out exactly what these foods are about, and hopefully be able to, you know, incorporate that into my diet in the future. So now I'm coming here to learn a few tips from Christina.
Yep. And the key to this is spices. If you have a good spice cabinet, your meals are always going to taste wonderful. And I really, really encourage you to just experiment with the spices you have, and we'll be talking about spices later. So this actually originated in South America, and it's an appetizer that's usually eaten with tortilla chips or some sort of chips. And it's actually low fat. So you can actually very easily incorporate this into your diet. And I'm going to have you make this. I have everything ready to go here. Let's just go ahead and put that shrimp into this bowl. These are the baby shrimp, the little shrimp, and the little shrimp are actually tastier than the bigger shrimp. Just the little ones. And go ahead and throw just a little bit of avocados in. Now I know that you don't typically eat avocados when you're dieting.
No, sorry, just a few pieces in there?
Yeah, just go ahead and spoon in whatever you think that you'll eat, or whatever's appropriate for your diet.
Okay, let's just leave it at that.
All right, and throw in some tomatoes.
All of them?
It's up to you.
I like tomatoes.
This is to your taste. There you go.
Yeah, I think a lot.
All right, very good. And some onions, chopped onions.
All of these?
It's up to you again.
Okay.
Some people like raw onions, some people don't, so.
Let's probably go 3/4 on that.
Very good. All right, so now why don't you go ahead and mix that together. This is such a simple, easy recipe.
Yeah, and I'd normally stay away from appetizers just purely for the fact that you're always associated with being fattening.
Right. Okay. So now what I'm going to have you do is squeeze a little bit of lime in there. And again, it's just a little bit to taste. Very good.
Yeah?
Yes. And our favorite lady, Cholula.
Oh, I love Cholula.
Yes, and again, this is to taste. You
just
put in,
some hot sauce?
Yes, however much you want in there. Yeah,
okay.
That's very good. And then we'll just grind some salt in there.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Yep, and mix that together.
Right. Let's see how much I can fit in this bowl.
Appetizer.
Beautiful.
Give that a try.
That is great.
We're going to start with our ground buffalo. So Kris, what I'm going to have you do is open up the buffalo here. So what I have is, I have 2 1-pound bags of buffalo. We ordered this from a farm. It's called Black Wing Meats. And buffalo is so important for a dieter because of the nutrients that are in the buffalo. Wouldn't you say, Chris?
Oh yeah,
it's
for sure.
So now what I'm going to do, rather than cooking with oil or fats, because I have a nice pan, it's called a green pan, so it's essentially non-stick, I'm going to add just a little bit of water to the pan. And what this is going to do, it's going to allow the meat to kind of absorb that moisture so it won't get too dry, because when you have a really lean meat, the danger is drying it out. And I'm going to start it out on high just till my pan heats up. And then we'll take it down a notch and put it on medium and let it simmer. So what I'm going to season with, now this is important for you, like I've said this before, is spices are really important. Your spice cabinet, it's really important to invest in some really good spices, because what happens is you get used to just cooking chicken and your meats but not incorporating any flavor to it. What's amazing is when you add some flavor to your food, you don't feel that calorie restriction almost, because you're satiated, you know, your palate needs that flavor.
You're not craving as much.
Exactly. So what I have here is I have a nice mix of turmeric powder, cumin seed, garam masala, and curry. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to mix a little bit of everything together. These are complementary spices, meaning they get along with each other is the best way to put it.
Okay.
We'll let that heat up and we'll move back here and start talking about this cauliflower mash. Now, I don't know about you, but I love mashed potatoes.
Love it.
Love mashed potatoes, but when you're dieting, obviously you can't have potatoes in the way that you'd like to have them. So this is a wonderful way to get something that's as close as you can get to a mashed potato. And honestly, I've served this to my children and they don't quite taste the difference. It's pretty amazing.
Really? Without
Yes.
the complex carbs, it's more fibrous.
Yes, it is. And so you get all this nutrition, you get the fiber, and you get just a delicious accompaniment to your meat. So what I'm going to do here is I have about 10 cups of cauliflower. This is raw. You can also buy this blanched at the grocery store. Blanched means it's been quickly put into boiling water, so it's partially cooked, which makes this process a little bit faster. So what we're going to do is we're going to put water in this and let this boil down. And when it boils down, it will start to break apart. Then we're going to drain it, and then we're going to mash it really, really fine. But because you're on a fat-restricted diet, we're going to add imitation butter flavor to it.
Beautiful.
Just to add a little bit more flavor to it, and we're going to just put a little bit of sea salt, and it's going to be perfect.
Right.
So why don't we go ahead and fill the pot up with just a little bit of water. I say a little bit, but you want it to cover the top of the cauliflower. And it's pretty amazing because the texture, so long as you have a really good blender, the texture is actually very close to a mashed potato. Thank you, Chris.
Yeah.
All right, when that comes to a boil, we'll turn it down so it doesn't boil over. And over here we have our beef. It's already starting to come to a boil and simmer. So what you want to do is you want to slowly start breaking it apart.
Like that?
Very good.
Yeah. Oh, my stomach is starting to rumble now.
This is actually very quick.
Good.
The meat gets cooked up pretty quickly. It's been about 10 minutes and our cauliflower's come to a nice boil, but it's still a little hard, so we have to wait a little bit longer till it breaks up. Do you see that, Chris?
I can see it, I can definitely smell it, but now I can see it.
Yes. So we're just going to turn it down just a little bit so it doesn't bubble over. So I know we're going through this kind of quick, but don't worry, the recipe's going to be on bodybuilding.com. All right, Chris, it looks like our meat is done.
Oh yeah,
I
it's
just want
dried up
you
a little bit now.
Yes,
it's taken all the water.
Yes, and this is a good time. I mean, it's still bubbling a little bit of water in there, but when you turn it off, it still continues to cook. So I'm going to turn it off right now. But if you can see that, it is ready. So what we're going to do now is we're going to add the salt. And again, I have sea salt. I have sea salt in here. This is the same sea salt that I showed you earlier. I'm just gonna sprinkle that on top. And that meat is ready to go, but it looks like our cauliflower is ready as well. It's pretty cooked. So what we're going to do is turn this off. And now you want this to drain really well. Let that sit there for just a second. Shake it around. So Chris Kris, what we're going to do with this now is we're going to blend it with a hand blender. And this is something else that most households, you need to have a hand blender. It's a immersion blender. This is what an immersion hand blender looks like.
That's new school. I'm used to doing it with a fork.
That's caveman style.
Yeah.
So this is stainless steel, but you can also get this in plastic. I should technically be using plastic in this pan, but what we're going to do is we're going to just blend this down. Okay, so now one little key to using an immersion blender like this is you always want to be making a downward motion and letting up on it as you come up, because if you don't do that, it's going to splatter everywhere. I'm sure Kris would not appreciate having cauliflower all over his shirt.
I don't know, it smells pretty good.
And we're going to add a little bit of this to our pot. Now this is going to add a lot of flavor, and I don't even need to tell you how nutritious garlic is. So we've added that. I'm going to just throw that little piece in there. We don't want to put too much garlic in there. And now we're going to add a little bit of salt. And a touch of pepper. And we're going to blend it one more time, but I'm going to let you have the honors of doing that. With the hand blender, yes.
Okay.
There you go. Beautiful.
Is that enough?
You got it. You're good. So what you do is you just tap it. So now we'll just spoon this into a dish. Okay, we'll put this in a nice ceramic dish here. How does that smell? Can you smell that?
Unbelievable.
You can smell the garlic. Oh. And there we go. Check that out. Does that look like mashed potatoes or what?
Smells
And
so
our
good.
meat is ready, so now we have our meat and our cauliflower, and why don't I serve you up some food? What do you think?
I'm down with that.
You ready?
I'm ready. This is going to be my best meal of the entire 12 weeks.
So we have some meat here. Get some cauliflower mash right next to it. Look at that. Your veggies. Look at that!
Unbelievable.
that
Thank you so
amazing?
much. Does that look like a meal that I should be eating 2 weeks out from the end of my transformation? I think not.
There you go.
Thank you very much.
Go for it, Kris. Thank you for watching another episode of Cooking with Christina, the special Cooking with Christina and Kris Gethin from bodybuilding.com. And just know that you can check out these recipes on the web at bodybuilding.com. And we just thank you for joining us.
Come back tomorrow to find out why I run off screaming in the middle of a take.